Okay, and we should be live. Welcome everyone to the Feast of Fiends. It's good to see everyone here. So awkward introduction time. My name is Jasmine Ambrosia. I'm a witchy content creator here on YouTube and other platforms as well. Hello. Thank you for joining. I'm having these amazing guests on so they can just introduce themselves and we'll just jump into this. Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go. Hi, I'm Trish, and my channel is Beanbag Hagwag here on YouTube.
We love it.
Hello, everyone. Oh, were you going to continue, Trish?
No.
I didn't want to interrupt you. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Lennon, and I am also a witchy content creator here on YouTube. I am a solitary pagan. I would call myself an eclectic witch. And I'm excited to be here for the Feast of Fiends.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I really, really loved your work this year with the Witch's Black Linen. And I commented on like Lennon's video and I was like, so Auntie B, we've got to like recruit her into like the Feast of Fiends. And I like slid into the DMs on Instagram and I was like, so purr. You want to get in on this or what?
Yeah, you slithered right in there like a serpent. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. And I took a bite of that apple. That's what happened.
Okay.
And it was really revolutionary actually, because I work with the sins in terms of like my craft. Like I have them on a list on my witchy table, and so I use them all the time. In a kind of like a be careful what you wish for. It keeps me grounded when I do spell work, ritual work, things like that. So I missed out last year. I didn't really miss out. Like I said, I work with these kind of things all the time. But to have it be this work with one, subvert it. It's not about its corresponding virtue. It's not about nothing like that. It's about working with a sin in this kind of heretic way that really called to me. And picking one that I needed, instead of like in Lent fashion, you take something out. I was like, which one do I need? Which one of those do I need in my life? And I chose greed. And it was pretty crazy because it felt like it was changing for me. Something evolved because working with greed, it got me back in touch with like as a mom of 3, it's so easy to say, oh, I'll get the new video game instead of a book that I want or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
And I'll use that as a crutch to why I can't have anything or whatever. And it's not about selfishness or anything like that, but it kind of changed my view around worth and what I feel like I earn.
And that's the whole point.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I felt that. I felt it kind of change me on this like weird blasphemous, cellular level. And it was really good. And actually going through it, and I turned mine into a vlog instead of doing it weekly, because I kind of like to montage things like that.
Yeah.
But doing it in kind of a weekly format, and what happened was essentially how y'all mapped it out is you build. Like you start out kind of small, you're kind of like researching it, you're reading a little Dante here and blah, blah, blah. And then it builds to this big ritual. And then all of a sudden it's like this big gust of wind comes and you're like, what the hell's up? So it really worked out. I felt it and it was such a good practice. I'm gonna come back next year.
Oh yeah.
Good. I really enjoyed watching everyone's work this year, and like in the Feast of Fiends, like later on we're gonna play some of the videos that people have made as well, and I'm assuming that people that have used the hashtag Witches Black Lent are consenting to potentially their videos being played, like I had mentioned. So hopefully no one feels kind of spicy that we play anything, but if you use the hashtag, you kind of signed your name on the dotted line, babe.
Yeah.
So we might play your video. I loved your work with greed. I loved your Gnosis with the Hollowed Woods and Dante's Inferno. I came across a new creator this year. I think her name is Elle Lazagarit or something.
Yes. I came across her.
Oh my gosh. Really really resonate with her, and she just feels like a girl that I would like link up with in real life and like
Mhm.
get a cocktail with and just like bitch and moan and complain and shoot the shit and have fun, you know, like
Yeah.
so yeah.
What was her sin? Do we know?
She was working with envy and
Oh,
also a little bit of wrath.
okay. Yeah.
And I
And
really like
I tried to figure out like if everyone did, like if all the sins were covered this year. Like I tried to look it up. I think they were.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if
Okay.
I saw sloth.
Oh,
I did sloth, so
yeah. Trish did sloth.
But outside of
outside of that.
us. Like outside of us.
Oh no, I don't. I mean, I'm including you guys. You know, Abby did wrath. Kendra did gluttony. I did greed. What else? What are
Emily's tarot did wrath.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Lenny did pride.
Vonnie too, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pride is kind of popular. I didn't see a lot of lust, I don't think, this year, and I didn't see a lot of sloth. Like, I think.
Right.
Right. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad I chose it.
Sloth, I'm not gonna lie, like I think I might be saving sloth for last. For me, like
Why?
I don't know. Like, you know, I feel like by saying that, I should probably maybe work on it next year. I just don't feel like I'm at a place in my life where I feel like if I sit down, I might not get back up. You know what I mean? Like, and there's shadow work there for sure for me to explore. And so I'm sure it would be very healing for me to do. But I'm not there yet. I feel like where I can like sit down because, girl, I might not get back up. Okay.
It feels good. Let me tell you, it feels good.
Well, and you don't want to like explore something that you're really not ready for.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the things too. Like I know I was ready for greed. I probably would have been ready for like three more. I could have chosen between a couple, but yeah, if I were to choose one that like sent me way out into the ether somewhere, I probably wouldn't have came back. It would have been like a fairy bower. Like it would have sent me and they would have kidnapped me. I would have came back.
I had done lust last year thinking like, oh, that seems natural, you know, for me to do lust, and lust like beat my ass. So I, you know, was kind of torn between maybe doing, like I've kind of felt sloth kind of whispering to me, but I was like, girl, I don't know if we can do this yet. Okay. I don't know. And then so I was kind of torn between pride and then maybe also greed, but I'm really happy that I went with pride this year. And I think comparing, you know, last year, I think that pride was a lot gentler to me than lust was. And I feel like overall the experience was, I don't know, gentler, like than my experience with lust was. What do you think, Trish? Like this
very much for me. Sloth was very gentle for me, and I needed it. This came at the perfect time for me. Last year I did envy, and envy was really, really hard for me. I had to do a lot of shadow work with envy, and with sloth, none of that was going on because I just needed the push to slow down and to not constantly do. And so while I was doing something with sloth, I also did things for Lent that kind of corresponded with sloth. So like I'm so addicted to weighing myself and to counting my steps all the time. And I didn't want to do that. So I gave that up for Lent.
I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that way, yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I of course I had to go to work and do things, but yeah, it helped me slow down, and it was actually so healing, and I don't want to stop. Part of my ritual was to make a permission slip to use sloth whenever I feel I need it, and I'm going to do that.
I love that.
I do too. Like make a little coupon book, and then like it's like sitting over there like an egregore, like a servitor, and you just pluck a coupon and you're just instantly invoking it. That's not
Yeah,
well, all of your
wonderful.
videos always, Trish, anyway, just feel like they're like comfort videos. Like I put them on, I just kind of like listen to them.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Go about, do my dishes and whatever, and I'm just like, oh, this feels cozy. I feel like I'm hanging out with Auntie B. This is nice. This is cozy.
Thank you.
I do the same thing. I wrap up in like, on the couch and listen to you talk. It's just about like getting out of the witchy room. And I'm like,
yeah, right? Get out of there.
Yeah. Just
I feel like most of what I do, it's not cozy. It's I want to make you think, and
you do.
And you do, yeah.
Oh my gosh, girl, yeah.
I mean, I'd like people to be like, oh, she's so cozy like that, but I don't. And it's just the way I think, and then I have to project those thoughts, and then I'm like, well, tell me I'm not the only one having these thoughts, and then. Most people like y'all, they're like, oh, this made me think about this, and this. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. But also you're welcome.
It's very much appreciated. It's very much, and this community needs all types of creators.
Oh yeah.
I think one of the common things that I hear from people that are considering like starting a YouTube or making witchy content in general is like, I've had people tell me like, oh, well, like, I want to make a video about this topic, but like it's already been done. And it's like, okay, it may have already been done, but like you haven't done it and your voice on that topic hasn't been heard. Right. So even if someone else has already done the video, like no one is going to have your twist on it. So, and all of us, I think, as a collective kind of make witchy YouTube what it is,
There's so many of us.
And I love these sort of hashtags. I loved the hashtag occulty. That was a bunch of fun.
Right?
Oh Lord.
And these community hashtags that like I really do feel like bring community together, because it can get really easy, right? I think for our algorithms to just show us the same 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
That, maybe the algorithm gods showcase a little bit more, or maybe the same 3 or 4 people that we watch all the time. Right. But like the cool thing about hashtags is like Ella's content or, like other people that I came across that I was like, oh, I didn't even know. I'd never seen this person before. And
I found so many new channels because of this hashtag. Oh, and because of the occulty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was awesome. Awesome.
I went through like days where I just binged all of them because mine and another girl's was like one of the first ones to come out. Because I didn't know anybody would participate, to be honest. And then so many people did. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm fighting all these new people. The topics were really intense. And it was cool because there was half of the people on that tag were saying, oh, like even me, I was like, community, if you can even call it that. And then other people were like, oh, I do have a community. And then it got me thinking that working with greed actually got me thinking about people and how when someone might say, oh, this isn't a real community, it could be because of envy. It could be because of a sin. It could be I'm envious because, y'all over there are saying you've got a community, but y'all have clicked yourselves. You're a clique. And I want to be part of the group. Okay. And you're kind of not asking me to be part of the group. And so
sometimes you just have to make your way in. If you're not asked, you have to just make your way in.
Yeah. Like, I guess do what Jasmine did, slither in.
Just slither in.
Can I play?
Yes. Yes, you can.
I've always been like the girl in class who's like pleasure to have in class, but talks too much. Like I talk to people that don't, you know what I mean? Like whether they want to talk to me or not, I'm talking, know, like that's, And I think online community, like someone like, okay, in my experience in like the real physical world, I do think that real physical world community is very different than online community, but I don't think that we have to compare like apples to oranges with it, like
I mean they're totally different.
Like your best friend in your internet group of people, like whoever that is, like I've had friends that I would consider in a kindred spirit realm through YouTube that I've met that I might not even tell certain things, but then a best friend in real life, I might tell them everything,
Right.
So like,
or sometimes for me, vice versa. Sometimes like I tell my online friends things sometimes that are even more intimate, because I'm like, well, you're not even in my state, or you're not even in my country. So like if I have a come apart in your DM, I know that like it's gonna be there in Sydney, Australia, and it's not gonna make its way. You know what I mean?
Like those radio waves ain't coming over to me.
Well, let's talk about some of our religious backgrounds and like the idea of Lent and like subversion. And Trish, like, how did we kind of start this? Like, I know that we kind of, I think like it was just kind of like, hey, Lent is coming up. How do we make this witchy, basically? And I remember like at that time, I was somewhat active in my local Satanic Temple chapter. And I thought it was so bizarre that the Satanic Temple hadn't already subverted Lent, because they take a bunch of Christian aspects and subvert it anyway as part of temple practice. So I thought it was like, because I thought for sure this was already a satanic thing. It just, right? Like Black Lent, like that's probably
like
already a thing. Right. And when I Googled it, like I couldn't really find a whole lot about it. And also like my background, I'm not Catholic. So I think that's Trish, right? Where I was like, hey, Catholic background friend.
Yeah. And I grew up Catholic. I was Catholic for most of my life, until probably 20 years ago or so. And, you know, so as I was growing up and a young adult, I always gave something stupid up for Lent. You know, nothing that really makes sense to give up. Yeah. So, yeah, I've always practiced Lent in different ways, and this was just a wonderful way to practice. For a long time, though, I guess I pulled away from it, you know, and didn't consider myself Catholic. And yeah, so it's just been in the last couple of years that I've really started to do Lent again. And not only like for the Black Lent, but for actually honoring my childhood. And it was such a normal thing for me growing up to do the Lent thing. Everybody I knew did it. And this is just such a wonderful way to practice.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I think that there's so much power in subversion, be it like ritualistic subversion or just culturally blaspheming. Like, I know that like on social media, there was discussions about subversion and like how subversion looks, you know, through our lens, right? Because like for me, like I definitely did not grow up Catholic or Christian in any way, but I don't think that necessarily means that like, because there are some practitioners, right, that come into the craft from backgrounds of like Abrahamic trauma. Not saying, Trish, that is you or not you or whatever. Speaking of, yeah, but
I never had any trauma, never.
But there, you know, there are a lot of people that come into the craft that way.
Definitely.
You know, and I think that even if we don't, like, I think in the West, especially like here in the States, like whether we're Christian or not, like we're kind of suffering under patriarchal Christian capitalism in this country. And so I think all of us can resonate to ideas of subverting what is seen as culturally sacred, right? And taking that and turning it on its head, whether or not we grew up with trauma, because our government and our culture here, like pushes those virtues of the sins, like chastity, for example, like down our throats so hard, or like temperance or humility, or like I loved Taya's video that she did last year where she kind of talked about how all of the virtues are kind of like manipulation and control tactics for the masses.
Yeah.
And you know, I do it more to empower this Black Lent thing, to empower myself. I don't want to be blasphemous. I have so many Catholic and Christian friends, and I would never do something that would hurt them.
Yeah.
Just for my own, you know, pleasure. I don't mean any disrespect to any Catholics or Christians when I do the Black Lent, because actually these sins have nothing to do with the church.
Right.
Really.
And
Right.
that's something else that a lot of people don't realize is that the 7 deadly sins really come from Dante's Inferno. They're not even biblical.
Right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my damn camera to focus.
They're not biblical. Because I don't mean disrespect.
Of course not.
You know, either to Catholics or Christians. But I'm also, you know, not going to go out of my way. Like, I'm going to experience embracing sin and blasphemy for a sense of empowerment of myself. And I think that if like one person's empowerment comes off as like another person's offense, then like that's their own shadow work.
That is their own. And we really got a lot of pushback when we did this last year. And I thought it was just terrible for somebody to say that it was so disrespectful to the Catholics to do this. Because
now, Trish, you have a lot of Catholic friends and family. Did you have any Catholics in your life come to you about it and be like,
no, like none of them did. I know my little sister, who's a very wonderful Christian woman. She watches my channel, and she was a little afraid to watch the Witch's Black Lent ones. We talked about it. I went to visit her this week, and I mentioned the Witch's Black Lent, and she said, oh yeah, I saw that, but I was kind of afraid to watch. Like, she didn't know if she should watch it or not. And I simply told her it was pretty darn wonderful, and there was nothing disrespectful. It was great. And I needed it so much.
The title of anything that has witch in it is still going to have some kind of ickiness to it. We're still living under that taboo.
Exactly.
And that's what I meant by subverting what is the culture. You know, like,
I mean, if you think about like court systems, like when you go to court, they still say in God we trust.
We still swear on a Bible.
We still swear on a Bible. We still, God is in our Pledge of Allegiance in schools. And how many other religions and traditions do you think are outmoded from these traditions that the U.S. has?
Or pretty much all of the Christian holy days are federal holidays, days off of work, days out of school. And a lot of other religions, like, we're still going to work, we're still going to school. We have to plan around on our holy days, you know? Right. So that's what I was saying, like, because I saw some discourse in social media about, you know, how could this really be empowering if I don't have Abrahamic trauma, making it seem like it's really a healing tool for people with Abrahamic trauma. And I think it can be. But I think for all of us, like, especially for women or just people in the West, like, I think it can be very liberating because we're still dealing with oppression, like, from these virtues.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't think, you know, Abrahamic trauma is necessary to.
No, certainly isn't.
But it does help when you do. Okay. Like, coming from someone who knows. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of like trauma from religion, it was more so that, like, growing up, I was, so you could call it Southern Baptist, which is a form of like Baptist Christian, which is mainly only down here in the South. It's really, I don't know. It's very much rule centric. Very, the men are higher than the women. Same old. And you know, the women didn't have much of a voice, and if they did, they had vocations in the church that revolved around what I would call domestic capabilities: the sewing, the you know, doing the nursery, watching the children, cleaning the church. The women did that. It was very cult-like in a way. But I don't want to say it like I'm taking away from actual cults. But growing up in that, I was one of those kids that always asked the deacons and the priest questions, the pastor questions, and they weren't happy, okay, that I was asking questions. And like, well, this says this, but it contradicts it in a few more chapters in the Bible. And they didn't like that. And after a couple of years, I started to realize, I think the first time I realized it, I found a copy of the Bhagavad Gita in the Goodwill, like a paperback copy of it. And I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, my what these people are talking about isn't the be all end all. So, and it led down me trying to form what I thought my own cosmology was. and my spirituality, like what I actually believed, getting down to that. And when I would do that, my own parents, not so much my siblings, but my parents were like against that in a way. And it was me kind of fighting back. Like if I wanted to buy a witchy book, it would be an absolute no. My mom has thrown away stuff that I've bought from a Barnes and Noble before. So terrified of it. And I don't know, it's just like things like that. Over 15 years, you're like, oh, okay, I can't be myself. I can't be myself. And over a decade of that, you get traumatized in a way, because you're trying to grow up being suppressed in a lot of ways, and it was hard. So that's kind of where, when I say I have religious trauma, that's really what I mean. But
I was thankful I was an adult when I found this path, so I didn't have anybody telling me no.
Yeah. And I didn't know, I mean, I did witchy things all my life, but I didn't know that I was the word for it, you know? Like I did mud baths, and, you know, I'd cover myself in mud to cleanse myself, and mix herbs out of the backyard into pots. And I was a tree climber. I had a ritual tree that I climbed like almost every day since I was the age 3. And I would like pour my blood on it. Like if I got cut climbing it, I would like ritually like put my blood on the bark and stuff. Like I was doing witchy stuff, but I never knew what the name of it was. And so it just, when I realized, I guess I woke up and realized, okay, I'm a witch. I owned it after that. I was like, yep, this is what I am. This makes the most sense.
I remember mixing like my mom's different lotions and perfumes together. Like, yeah, I definitely relate and resonate to that. And another thing that I got out of this year's Lent, I have a review video coming of this, but the Dante Inferno Oracle.
Oh, I am so interested in that.
So good. Highly recommend. I think this is like maybe $20 on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like not sponsored or anything. But I saw Ella's video with this, and I really liked it. And then she referenced Owl Moon's video with it, when Owl Moon's video is wonderful too. And so I went ahead and picked it up because, you know, the 7 deadly sins, as we kind of know them, really are from Dante's Inferno. And like, I think it's interesting going back to kind of what Trish was talking about with people, you know, kind of the blowback with last year is like the witches that I encountered, or I should say the people that I encountered that like kind of really took issue with the Black Lent, surprisingly, like none of them were Christian or Catholic. They were all like pagans and witches pretty much that were like, two sides with it. Like either A, they felt like it was an offensive thing to like Christianity, like we're a bunch of like rebellious teenagers that are just mad at the man and we're just going to stick it to the man with the Black Lent. Like they thought it was childish and dumb and offensive. Or there are also witches whose Abrahamic trauma is like, no, anything remotely Abrahamic, get it away from me. You know, I don't want to participate in anything remotely that. And it's like, you know, to each their own. Like, and hey, if you think the Black Lent is stupid and childish and offensive, cool. Like you're totally free to think that. If you think that it's, you know, gross and yucky because you're a witch and you can't touch anything Abrahamic, like that's cool too. You don't have to participate. Like that's, oh my God, what a crazy concept that is. Like you don't have to participate, babe. Like at all. You could just, you know, find something else to do. But, you know.
And isn't it creative? Like if we took, like I know one year on my channel, I was so sick. I had Yule being my favorite holiday. And I was so sick of listening to Christmas songs on the radio being about Christmas, Jesus, Abrahamic Christmas. And I was like, I want to witchify a Yule song. I'll witchify one of the songs. And I did it. I did Winter Wonderland or something. And it was a really good experience because you're taking what, like you said, is culturally normal. Okay. I hate that word. And turning it on its axis, turning it around to where it could benefit you, make you happy and joyous. And I think that's the point, isn't it? Is that if we're going to be following our bliss, but somehow trying hard not to conform to the mass, How are we supposed to do that? We have to be creative with it.
Mhm.
Like y'all did. I think it was creative.
I think that's a fabulous idea to witchify one of those Christmas tunes.
And I
That's
like some of the Christian Christmas carols.
Oh, I
They're
do
kinda
too.
catchy. They're kind of
Like-
catchy. Like I'd be listening to like pentatonics, like Mary, did you know?
I know.
Did you know that's your baby boy? You know, I'd be like,
She did not know.
but I also like in my head, like I know like what they're singing about, but in my head I'm like I'm replacing the imagery with like other gods and
Yeah.
like I'm
Right.
replacing
Because this
you know,
story is in
Yeah.
so many religions,
Yeah.
as well as the Easter story, the greatest story ever told. That's in many, many different religions.
Yeah.
and Dante's Inferno, like I also didn't realize that Dante's Inferno is like only a little over 700 years old.
Yeah.
Like it originates from like the 1300s. Like I don't know why I don't know, but there's a lot of people that think that the 7 deadly sins are biblical too, and like they're Christian fan fiction. They're like Dante's. Yeah, and also it's interesting that there's like 9 circles of hell, but we only have 7 deadly sins. And like I learned a lot this year traveling through the Inferno with the Dante's deck, and it's definitely like kind of a heavier deck. Like I wouldn't probably read with this like I would regular tarot, you know, for like navigating daily life kind of thing. Like it's kind of more of a deep dive into your psyche and the metaphorical inferno of your shadow. This deck is described as holding a mirror up to the human soul and reflecting the most horrific aspects of ourselves back upon us. So, you know, I was into it. I was like, heartbreaking, horrific. I gotta get it. I gotta check this out.
Well, and that's what the whole Black Lent is about, is getting to know yourself. And it's what it's about.
Human nature. Like if you think about the circles of hell, and the concept of limbo, the concept of purgatory, and like, you know, how sin is inevitable in everyone. So when you work with sin, any of them or all of them, you find out a little bit more about human nature, about when someone's acting like this to you, as in like an external expression or a projection. They're projecting their envy, they're projecting their lust, their whatever. And then how am I doing that to other people? And you learn, like when reading Inferno and Purgatoria, I haven't read a lot of the Paradise because
I was watching a video about Paradiso. I haven't read Paradiso either. Also, Purgatorio, Inferno, and Paradiso, like a 3-part comedy. But like we really only talk about the Inferno. So I'm like, well, dang, how do we like try to incorporate the other comedies? Paradiso's wild though. Like there be aliens and shit. Like I'm like, Dante?
Yeah, like the whole thing is like a prayer.
What were we on when we wrote Paradiso?
What he was on was,
can I have some?
Obsession. He was obsessed. I mean, still, when you get to Paradiso, he is still obsessed with Beatrix. Largely, he's like, please let me go to heaven with her. Like, just let me be with her. And I'm like, oh, it's like the whole thing is a prayer, you know? And that's another thing that I wanted to do with the Black Lent was make some prayers, you know, like come up with my prayer for greed, but then for all the sins, like, oh, hallowed sin, you know, like subvert it in a way that I was thinking about this the other day about prayer, and how when I think it's just Christians, I'm not sure, but most Christians bow their head. And when I and a lot of witches that I've heard talk about using prayer in terms of incantation and things like that, they look up, they look out.
Yes.
And I thought that was such a subversion.
I've never even thought of that.
Like when I pray to divinity of any kind, deity, beings, spirits, I tend to go like this, you know, like the charge of the goddess, or calling down the moon, drawing down the moon. You're like this. You know, like you want to look in the face of the goddess of the moon, you know, like this, not like this. So it's a subversion through looking at human nature's submission, which is mind blowing. So
for sure.
Anyway.
And this is something that like I definitely want to do every year to at least work with each sin. But like, even once I work through all 7, I feel like I could revisit, you know, maybe I could go back and sit with lust and be like, let's try this again, you know? I'm not sure yet. Have you guys thought at all about what you might do next year? I know it's a year away, but
I have not. In fact, choosing for this year, I really didn't know what I was going to pick until I really sat down and thought about it all and everything I've been through in the last year. And this year has been hard so far as well. And I really needed the sloth thing so bad, so bad. So it was kind of a no-brainer. I don't know why I had such trouble choosing.
Well, it was good that you weren't faced with any resistance choosing sloth because of all the problems that you've been faced with. It seems like sometimes when we're faced with like what we need to do, we're hit with like this wall, this resistance, and we don't go after what we need.
Which is how I feel about sloth right now. Like I'm not even at the point where I feel like, I mean, I've kind of been working with the sins broadly since August of last year because I'm extending my spirit codex and I'm putting sin spirits in the extended book. So I have like Dozy Sin for sloth, which is like a big sloth demon. And like, he's cool, you know, he's a little cutie. But I haven't like done ritual work with Dozy because I feel like if I lay down with Dozy might not, I don't know. Are you going to let me get back up, sir? Or are you just going to hold me? And then am I going to start crying? You know, am I going to become like a little Pisces moon puddle on the floor? Like
probably.
Right. And so maybe
oh, damn. I'm a Pisces moon.
yeah, like maybe we'll do sloths. Probably not next year either, but
you might do it when the extended book comes out. Like when you have the book and you've done all the work with the codex, it might be kind of like to see it in like a form kind of a way. And so right now it's like formless. It's kind of like, I don't even know you. I don't want to know you. And then when it's like on paper, you know, you might want to do some deep dives with all of them.
Yeah. Like Vanity Sin, like I have experienced them as like very genderqueer, and I've experienced Vanity Sin, who's the name of the sin spirit that I'm connecting with Pride. Because like there are princes of hell that are associated with the sins through Dante's Inferno. Like there's, you know, Beelzebub and Leviathan and Lucifer and Satan and like these different demonic princes that are attached with different sins. But I didn't just want to work with Lucifer because I already work with Lucifer as a votary of Aradia through like an Etruscan sort of pagan lens, like Lucifer, like Apollo Lucifer, Gold Devil Lucifer. I already work with that light bearer. So I wanted to like bring in a sort of emissary of Lucifer is how I'm kind of seeing it. Like I believe that like Dozy Sin is an emissary of a prince of hell. And like Biddy Sin, my envy spirit, is an emissary of a prince of hell. Like, and yeah, I see Pride as like a fabulous sort of like drag queen that's like, get up off your ass and take care of yourself, damn it. Like, drink some water, girl. Brush your hair. Do it for you. Get some sunlight. Go on a walk. Let's get up. No, we're not just going to sit down all day. We're going to get up. Come on. Like, she's very like.
She wants to show you off.
Huh?
Is that what she wants to show you off? That's what it is.
But like lust to me, like Solicity Sin, like she was like, I felt like I was watching the movie 13, but I was like living it with her. Like, I don't know if you guys know that movie or not, but like I felt like, girl, we are in danger, girl. Like,
does she look like that? If I'm thinking about the right movie.
I have some images that I'll show you. Like I haven't released all of them publicly yet, but I'll show you guys some of the images that I've worked on. And some of them are also like, I don't know if YouTube's guidelines for the lust spirits would be super down with me showing some of that. Like if you've seen my last book, there's a lot of peen and a lot of the art. So, you know, YouTube's weird about the peen sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't want to
artistic nudity.
Right. Well, let's I guess I'll pull up. I have a playlist where I've been just kind of like putting people's videos in specifically for this, and we can just kind of skip through it and watch. And if you guys have suggestions of anyone in particular's, videos, let me know. So I'm gonna pull this up. I'll be right back. You guys just like hang out for a minute.
Hi, Lennon.
Hi, Trish. It's also now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like every time I go live with multiple people, I feel like I'm on a talk show. But then I also envision like we could go off on rabbits, chase rabbit holes like they do on The View or Good Morning America or something.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget that there's people watching, and
yeah. I do. I haven't even looked at the chat. I know it's like over to the side, but I can't like, I don't know. I can't say hey to the chat. So hey, you guys.
Yeah, hey chat. I can't either. I can't concentrate on more than one thing right now.
I'm not good at that either. Some YouTubers can like talk their spiel and still like recite the chat, and I'm like, I don't know how.
No,
I mean, and I feel like I pride myself on multitask, like being able to multitask, but not like this, not with the whole internet watching.
No, of course not. Here she is.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, and then we're gonna screen share this, and I'm gonna share the audio. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so great. Real quick, before we get into people's like Black Lent videos, I have this at the top of the playlist. This is a phenomenal video that's about the 7 princes of hell, if you're not familiar, and the association with those princes of hell and the sins. So if you'd like, a left-hand path, crooked path, subversion experience, academically, put this on as a podcast. Check out this video.
Yeah. Mammon was mine for greed, and it was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. He lives in like this gold castle in hell. It's pretty cool. Okay. A lot of people participated.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow.
Some of these are from last year too. Here's one from Vonnie. Let's do this one.
Yeah.
I loved Vonnie's work.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
Hey everyone. Vonnie
Can you guys hear this?
And you get to have another installment of Vonnie Does Laundry at Work. Now,
can everyone hear this?
I'm at a weird angle. It's making me really fat.
I'm going to just jump into the middle.
I see a lot of this in me. But you have to delve deep, like really in there for it to actually circumvent some of those emotions and feelings. And it can be heartbreaking sometimes, and you get like an epiphany. It can be really intense. And so for the first week, you research your sins, pick one that you think would work best for you, and you think of the benefits that this sin could produce. On the second week, you create a poem. On the third week, you create an effigy or a vessel. On the fourth week, you create either an incense or an oil or perfume, something to attract that sin. On the fifth week, you create a spell or ritual. And then...
Okay, hold on. What did you guys think? Because we did the same challenges that we did last year. Like we did the same challenge format. What do you guys think of the challenge format? And like if we were...
I like it. I like it a lot. And it was totally, it's the same prompts, but very much different for this sin than for envy. Like totally different.
I feel like the prompts are open-ended enough that everyone can kind of take their own interpretation with it. And also, I don't know, I don't feel like it'll be dull because every sin, each witch will experience differently through those prompts. But if we were to change anything, do you guys have any, or anyone in the chat, if you have any suggestions, what would we add or take away?
I liked it. I think that it built to something like I said, you started small and you kind of write a poem, or you write a journal entry, or whatever your gift is in the writing capacity, and then you kind of build up with the effigy, build, you know, a vessel of some kind, and then by the end of it, you're invoking it and you're working with it in such a way that it's beneficial, and it just you know.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking, like to build up to a sin ritual.
Yeah.
It's great. I think it's great just the way it is.
And like you said, I mean, every sin will take you down a different path.
And
Like,
every witch I think will walk a different path with each sin
we're all in the same forest though with Dawn.
Yeah. Like I feel like the sin of pride, for example, all three of us, let's say, work with the sin of pride and we're all doing the same prompts, but I think that we'll walk different paths with pride.
Definitely.
You know, and then also we'll have different interpretations of, like, I loved Kendra's effigy for gluttony, like the detachable belly, like that.
Was that amazing or what?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
And I want to watch that on here. If that's a suggestion.
Yeah. I actually have that one saved in this playlist.
Hey, Abby. And hey, everyone in chat. I think we had some new people come in. But anyway. Which one did Vonnie do?
Why do I have a cowboy?
Vonnie did Pride.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I have a cowboy music playlist saved as Black Man. Was it week 3 with the effigy? I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, and the bird feeder thing was so cool. This was so fun.
I've never done it before, so we'll see.
This was such a cool idea.
Oh, gosh, just come out, that's for sure.
Having like the birds take the intention, like
so wonderful.
She's great.
Oh my gosh, got it. Okay, well, he's a little messed up, but that's okay. It worked better than I thought it might.
She made a skull and a moon.
There, I'm gonna pop these guys back in the freezer and await the spell. Try to carve out like a little spot to put all my herbs for like appetite suppression, speed up your metabolism, that curb your appetite and fight sugar cravings, because that's what I have the worst trouble with.
Smart.
So
cunning.
Grab a knife and see if I can carve out a little pouch. I got a little teeny tiny spoon and a knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut her belly off.
Right.
You know? Like, I think like cutting that belly off is ritual.
Don't do
like
this at home.
Definitely.
Never cut towards yourself. Eek. Okay.
So creative.
So I am just going to fix her little belly here. There. Now I'm just going to scoop a little bit out.
Like, I want one of these.
To make a little
like
cavern.
Yeah, like she needs to start selling these.
It is so cool.
Good. That'll hold a good amount.
Like, how many people
Nice
do you know
sourdough.
would buy this as a vessel, like as an effigy of like as like a poppet? That's
Right.
Right.
Okay,
I think it could also be
she's
great for
done.
like fertility work too. Like
Yeah.
even
as
even
like a
using this
vessel.
idea outside of just gluttony, you know?
Here
Yeah.
she is. She has a little pouch for her weight loss herbs in her belly. So that's fun. So she's pretty cute. I'm going to sculpt maybe a little one of the same type of shape for my desk. Just as a reminder, you know, to make good choices for my health and eating.
Loved
Hi,
finding
guys.
this
Happy
creator.
Tuesday.
Me too.
I just got out of a rather stressful meeting, and I figured, why not relax with a little.
Oh, I hope
video
she has the nails in this
like
video.
that, you know, just
She always
to
has the nails on
zen out.
point. You know, like you, Jasmine.
So that's what we're doing. First, I want to start off with a little update on my envy journey. As some of you may or may not know, I am participating in the Witches Black Lent this year. This is the second year that this little challenge is taking place. And it was started by Trish, which I believe is Beanbag Hag. Beanbag, somebody, I'll link her down
so
below
cute.
in the comment section. And Jasmine Ambrosia, who I believe that's her channel, Jasmine Ambrosia. These two women started this Witches Black Lent challenge, and every week of the Christian Lent, you either, let's see, what have I done so far? You write a poem. This Friday. So all last week I was in Tech Week. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we had shows. So I'm at the theater, I'm working, just not a lot of time to like actually sit down and divulge in, witchy things. So what I did was I searched on Pinterest. As most of you know, Pinterest is just like this haven for all sorts of inspiration. And I found a drawing that I just thought was perfectly fitting. So I imitated it. And if anybody like has seen this drawing by chance, I kind of doubt you have, but if by chance you do recognize this, please let me know so I can shout out the original artist, because they deserve to be shouted out. Like I said, I'm totally just imitating. But as I was going down this envy journey, and just to kind of update you and remind you on kind of where it's taken me, I've noticed that a lot of my envy is geared towards the patriarchy, towards men, specifically old white men. A lot of it is political. A lot of it has to do with women's rights. A lot of it has to do with equality. All of the above, right? Just like minorities being kind of like pushed down here while all these like rich white men continue to stay thriving up here. And I've just had enough of it. And I'm envious that they get away with things day in and day out. Yet it seems like the minorities continue to suffer. And so I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with a lot of pain. I'm dealing with a lot of, like I've kind of hinted in the last post too, a lot of wrath. I think there's been a lot of envy mixed with wrath here. But the main focus this year is on envy. So while I've been there, I found this beautiful kind of like pop art inspired image where it was just like all the dots and everything, like as if it was like a newspaper clipping. That was just the one thing that I did not add, because I didn't know how to make them look really equal. You know how like if you look at pop art, those little dots there are just like extremely equal, and I feel like it would have looked a lot more half-assed than what it does. But then I loved that it said I hate him, I hate him, I hate him, because I was like, yeah, I do. There is a lot of hate. There is a lot of hate and jealousy. I am mad at him universal.
I want to say that I loved watching.
Hey, witches.
Oh gosh, not me. Hold on. I loved watching all of hers.
Hey, witches.
You guys, stop, Jasmine. Chill out.
Which
Also, I
they
want to say
can
this
drink.
creator,
The resources are limited. And because of the patriarchal society, a lot of those resources are naturally allocated to men. So there are things like diversity hires, where in an entire... So what's going to happen is we're going to go through each and every one of them very briefly, like 5 minutes. And we are going to look into some feminist literature that discuss them and advises.
What'd you say?
Is this from last year or this year?
No, this is from.
No, this is this year.
Oh, you should do it this year? Okay. Cool.
On how to reclaim them. But before we get started, let me remind you that I've opened a Ko-fi, which is basically a Patreon that takes less from creators. And on there, you can do a one-off donation, a monthly donation, or also have a tarot reading with me, which has a low-income option that starts from £5 onwards. So if you like, last is the first one on my list.
This whole video is like 47 minutes long. Highly recommend that you check it out, that you listen to it. It's like definitely like a deep dive into all of the...
Yeah, so they went through all of them.
Yeah, I don't know if they actually like, I don't know if I saw that they picked one and like worked through the challenge. I think it was more like talking about ritual subversion and how we can look at these sins from places of empowerment and how they relate politically to like the craft as well. Kind of like what Taya's video was talking about, how like the virtues being kind of used as a way to control the masses and everything.
Which is what Dante's message is. He was so religious. I mean, this is his, like I was saying before to you. I think I talked to you about it, Jasmine. Like he went on a trip to the other world, and this is his lesson, was finding out about these sins, and like, you know, going through with this poet from the 1st century, you know, Virgil, and they travel. They literally are, I guess, path walking. And when going through this, I think that we too have to kind of go through the lens of medieval religion too, when we're reading it, and how it still feels relevant today because we're still systemically oppressed by the same system, essentially.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And I loved in your video where you kind of connected the witch woods, the hollowed woods, and the underworld, and
it
the
just makes
Inferno,
sense.
because like, you know, in my extended book currently, I'm also like, in the first book it was like exploring the cardinal directions of the other world, and then in the extended book it's going to be more with like the cross quarters, and like in between Dokar and Mitney is like where I've charted the Hellmouth. So everything that you were saying about like Dante and Virgil starting off in the hollowed woods, and then finding their way to like the Hellmouth, and then crossing through purgatory and limbo and descending down the Inferno, is wild, because it 100% checks out with like work that I've been working on over the past couple months with my witch flights. And it's just really cool to have those moments where like another witch online is like, and you and I have not even had extensive conversations. Like you didn't even know I was working on that.
I know. I think that the amazing thing about that is those instances where it is verified gnosis.
Yeah.
It becomes verified gnosis, because I didn't know you were working on whatever. And then you were studying that. And then we kind of built off this idea.
Yeah.
That I'm sure other people did.
Fell into your DM, and it was like, okay, so here's a voice memo.
Yeah. And you call it the hollowed woods, and I call it the witch woods, because so many people, the visions, I call mine visions when I travel there, because they seemingly come from like nowhere. I just sometimes, instead of intentionally going there like I do sometimes, other times it's just boom, I'm there. And so when that happens, I'm in a wood, and I just always call that the witch's wood, because it's like through like this weird metaphysical other world, other realm. But I always end up starting in a dark wood. Same like with, you know, Hansel and Gretel and Baba Yaga and all that, you know, like, all fairy stories.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something to be said about the collective experience of witches. And to me, that kind of goes back to some traditional witchcraft, and even like pulling inspiration from the trial records, because like witches confessing to similar things throughout different parts of the world, like.
Yeah, y'all see that movie, The Witch?
Oh my gosh, love it. love
like
Black Phillip. Like, also, if you're into that vibe, I highly suggest checking out Coven of Sisters, which is about the Spanish witch Inquisition and a group of young witches trying to escape persecution by seducing the priest and taking him to the witch's Sabbath. Coven of Sisters, very, very good. Very, very good.
Like, The Witch was one of those movies that was supposed to scare you, you know? But it didn't.
I thought it was very poetic.
Oh, for sure. I don't know what's happening with my camera.
Oh, hey! I was just going for a drive, which is wild because up until...
In today's video, I'm going to be diving into Wrath for the Witches Black Lent. So get yourself a nice hot drink, settle back, relax.
This video is amazing.
I forgot to work with Lilith too. Like, oh, y'all.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for today's video. It is the afternoon, but I'm starting to think that it's starting to get a little bit dark, so I might turn my light on in a moment. Of 1,000 suns and be burned. I'm also going to share with you my invocation for
my
wrath.
favorite.
I wrote
this. I love this.
From the darkest depths of my primordial body, I call you forth. Wrath. You who shriek out with the sacred rage of the divine feminine. The collective force of the dark mother, from the belly of the earth, bellow and screech with anguish, disgust and defiance.
Chills.
Keen out through my lungs with the almighty thunder of a woman scorned. Raise hell with the power of a tidal wave and the terror of a mother whose child is ripped from her embrace. May the truth shine brightly with the force of 1,000 suns and be burnt into the eyes and memories of the complicit. May they forever know the horrors they've inflicted upon the innocent. May they be brought to justice, as she who screeches exposes them and all of their lies. The eyes of the goddess see all. The eyes of the divine cannot turn from these atrocities. Wrath shall be served. Empower me to do everything I can to fight to protect innocent lives. Wrath, you who move with unconditional love and painstakingly seek justice for the oppressed. Wrath, you shall know peace.
Oh.
Wrath, you shall know peace. And so it is.
Period.
I could hear the wrath in that. Is that crazy?
She's full of so much passion there. That's
she
wonderful.
mopped the floor with it. Like when I was watching this, I was like literally I got goosebumps. Like I was getting chills. I was doing my dishes. I had this propped up in one of my planters that has my green onions on it in my kitchen window. And I'm just doing my dishes and I'm listening. And you know how like when you have something on like a podcast, you're there, but you're also doing other things too. And like I was watching her video, loving it. And then I started hearing this invocation and I literally stopped what I was doing and just like.
Yeah. Like it's kind of like when you're hearing it, it's felt by all witches.
That was powerful.
Yeah, like it felt it like radiate through time or whatever. Like it was bigger than it was.
Salutations.
Okay, I've got to play this one too. I know that we're coming up on the hour, so hopefully I'm not taking up too much more of your guys' time, but this was great. This was great. If any of you are on TikTok, definitely check out this creator on TikTok. She does like coffee talks in the morning that are really, really fun. And yeah, so let me just play some of this.
Hello, my little chickens. Hello, Jenny Love. So I am making this video in response to Jasmine Ambrosia and her fabulous Witches Black Lent challenge. I wanted to show her what I did and tell her thank you for sending this to 5 Point Society for Witches, which she so graciously came and talked to us about her book. I thank her profusely for that. But she gave us this Witches Black Lent challenge. And if you're here, you know the idea. Go see her channel. I'll try to tag her somewhere so that you know what I'm talking about. But I wanted to talk about my experience. Our society, several folks did this. We met up once a week. We gathered to chat about it. I have a funny, let me see if I can get him in focus.
This was her.
So I got this little, there he is, this little lion, put a sun, gave him a little crown, painted him gold. Again, very aware that I want to continue to work with this entity. I gave him a name. I just rearranged the letters for the word pride. Depire, D-E-P-I-R. So he's Depire, right? That's his name. And he's the spirit of pride, to shine a light on things you should feel pride in. He is home for pride to reside and help turning up the light where you may need that boost. So I was really, again, mindful that I wanted to continue to utilize him in all the ways. Next, we had to make either an incense or oil, which, again, let me get this.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel.
Abby.
And Abby the Witch. We are going
Love
to
Abby.
week number
Me
4
too.
of the Witches Black Lent. Last week, I did not do. So I like to cover it up and make it dark because do I think the sunlight ruins Death Incense or Dark Moon Water or anything like that? No, I don't think it completely ruins it, but I do like to keep it dark, you know?
Keep it dark.
I think that
She's so cute.
it helps. I know there are some witches who are like really like paranoid about it, and they'll get up at like 5 a.m. before the sun comes up to like get their Death Incense inside or Dark Moon Water inside, and like they'll put it in a dark closet and never let sunlight touch it, and that's fine. That's cool. Like I don't really care that much. But anyway, that's why it's covered up with dark tape though. I also had this sitting out on my altar with some black obsidian. Black obsidian, I definitely associate with death energy, dark moon energy as well. It also is a volcanic type of rock. I forget what that's called. Sorry. So I kind of associate that with being destructive for obvious reasons. So yeah, that's just about it, guys. I'm gonna take all of my ingredients, crush it up in my mortar and pestle, put it into my jar, and then let it charge under the dark moon tonight. And as I'm crushing it up into my mortar and pestle, I'll also be thinking about my intention. I want this to be banishing incense. I want this to have death energy, right? I'll just be like, maybe.
Okay, also.
I love how she's using death energy with Wrath. Isn't Wrath towards Abby?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ladies from the 5 Point Society, which is what Jenny was talking about, made this incredible sculpture for Envy. So I'm going to like share some of these images. I got permission to share this. This is so cool. She made this, and this is for Envy.
Wow, what is this made of? Is it made of clay?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's air dry clay. I love like the flower petal here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it like reminds me of Envy, turning Envy into something that you work with nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like having nature be like be envious of nature, not humans, like kind of turning it around on itself. Oh, it's nice.
And the greenness of Envy and like the green-eyed monster.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea too of taking Envy and like when you see something that like you're envious of another person, like instead of being, you know, sort of coveting, I think envy can be used in a very complimentary way too. Like use your envy to also uplift others as well.
Mm-hmm. Don't let it stop you from.
Yeah. Right.
Because like if you think about like if you're envious, like say on someone online, you're envious of them and you like never engage, you never comment on their channel, you're like, no, I can't. They're just so much better than me, you know, like whatever. Okay. I'm going off something I've done when I first came on, you know, like when whoever's channel or somebody I was envious of, just the way they, you know, portrayed themselves or their backgrounds, like whatever it was, I wouldn't even engage with them. And I have changed my complete, like I want, when I really like and value the content, I want them to know that now.
Mm-hmm. Like
nothing's going to stop me from telling you that I loved this or I appreciate this. I appreciate you for putting this out here. So yeah.
I really do try to also like be conscious about when I'm consuming content to also be interacting with the content. Because like I want people that are putting out all of this amazing content to know how much it really is appreciated.
I agree.
Even something as simple as like, you know, leaving some heart emojis and being like, loved this. It doesn't have to be a full dissertation of their work, but like letting them know like, hey, I've seen your work. I like your work. This is good work. Like, good job. You know, I try to be more conscious of that because I can just fall into a binge loop where I just watch a bunch of content.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I'm not really interacting with the content, which is like, I feel like as a viewer, I'm kind of missing out on part of the experience because like we can actually interact with each other. Like
that's what it's for. I love the comment section. I love the comment section. It's my favorite part of the YouTube thing.
And like, regardless of platforms and subscriber counts and whatever, like, we're all just people at the end of the day. And that's why I got on YouTube to begin with, is because I wanted the interaction. So why am I not interacting with more creators?
Right.
And it's so hard. Making videos is hard. And I want them to know I appreciate it.
And there's so many out there. And like we get, like you said before, we have these, we do tags, and we, these community tags bring us together, and then we find more people that we didn't even know were out there.
There are so many of us.
Yeah. And like I said in my Occult Tea video, we're a legion. We're legion. So.
Well, do you guys have any closing thoughts about our Witches Black Lent, as we're a little bit over the hour here? Do we have any?
I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for this whole challenge, because I find it so beneficial to me. I can't wait till next year, and I have no idea what I'm going to choose, but I know that it will come to me when the time is right.
Yeah,
I agree. I feel like I want to say I might work with Wrath or Greed, but also like I think I'll just have to wait until I'm there to see like what's really needed, I'll definitely though be using this. And so I would say for anyone else watching, like Traveling the Inferno, I kind of sat on my couch. I put on a Dante's Inferno music playlist, which is in the Witches Black Lent playlist, if you're curious. I put that music on. I lit some candles. I pulled up a Google document and I flipped through each card while also flipping through the booklet that they provide about like their interpretations of the Inferno. And card by card, I wrote my own interpretations of what these cards kind of represent as I went through the Inferno over the course of 2 evenings. I split this up and like really had a travel-like experience with this deck. And I haven't really used it a lot this year because I got it halfway through, but I definitely think I'll be pulling it out next year and like wanting to work even more with the Inferno for the Witches Black next year. And I'm sure I'll work with it in between for just like kind of some self-reflection type tea and like, but I think it's going to be perfect as a deck to complement the Witches Black Lent. So if anyone's looking for
it looks really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Like I feel like I want to journey to the man, I don't want this to sound as crazy as it sounds in my head, but I have thought about wanting to journey to the layers and see and be an observer like Dante, though,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
In a lucid way, I can journey to the realms and look at the people that are in the hurricane force winds and look at the people that are fighting it out to the death on the river Styx, like there's so much happening in the Inferno. It's just the Inferno that you could be an observer in these realms and see what these quote unquote sinners have to endure. And I think that over the course of because I'm like signing up for next year already too, because it was such a good experience. And like, Trish, you said, I don't know what I'll pick next year, but I think that over the course of the next year, using journey work and I'm working with Mouth of Hell right now too as a motif. So working with that, doing some journey work with Dante, maybe I replace Virgil and I talk with Dante going through the layers. So I'm going to work through the next year with doing some journey work, and maybe that will help me pick a sin for next year. That's my goal.
I think that would be very cool. And if anyone is watching this as a replay, I want to extend an invitation as well. Like when we go into our 3rd year of the Witches Black Lent, what could we add? Like as a community, what could we add to this challenge? Because we have a challenge for all 6 weeks of Lent. And I feel like we need something each week of that, but like maybe there is something else that we could add to this to build this challenge even more, I don't know. We'll have to just kind of see how it evolves. I think that the challenge has a spirit in of itself, and I think it'll show us and tell us, maybe what might be needed. But if you have any suggestions, if you're watching this, please feel free to leave them down below. And yeah, I mean, I think this is the end, which is like crazy that the Lent has come and gone, and now we're at the end of Feast of Fiends. Like, I feel like we just started this stream. So I really appreciate both of you so much for coming on. And I will definitely make sure that all of their information is linked down below in the description. So everyone who's watching, please feel free to also go check out their channels if you are not already familiar. And please also check out the Witches Black Lent playlist and give some love and some support to the other amazing creators that also like helped make this challenge what it is. Because without all of us sort of pouring into the collective well of magic of the Black Lent, like it wouldn't be what it is. That's what makes a hashtag so powerful. That's what makes modern digital witchery so powerful. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you, baby.
We do.
Okay, thank you. Oh my God. Blessed be.
Good night, everyone.